I figured it
Oh,
out.
finally, man.
So I had to stop moderating.
We figured it out.
Yeah, I couldn't moderate and still and be part of the live.
No.
Fine.
Okay, man. How's the day, man?
Wow, it was long. Sorry for the delay.
Hey,
It's supposed to start at 7:30, but
it's
yeah,
okay,
it's been
man.
one of those days. Thank God for the rain. It's a blessing and also an inconvenience sometimes. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
wait.
Yes. How you doing, man? How's your day?
My day was excellent. Yeah, it was excellent. Had a couple of rehearsals. I have a worship night tomorrow.
Oh,
I had a church
wow.
where I serve at. Yeah, so we had rehearsals for that earlier on. Yeah, man.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, man. I feel like being a bit mean. Since people are coming in, would you mind blessing us with some music before we start anything? Any song you want.
Any
Any
song I
song you
want.
want.
Any song
Anything.
I want. Wow, this
Anything
is
goes.
interesting.
Yeah.
That I play. Do you want me to play it like live, or you want me to play it from like a speaker?
No, perform for us, please.
Wow. Okay. Let's see.
Anything.
What can we do? I don't know. Wow. Huh. 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 Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. Hey, man, that was sweet, man. That was sweet. That was sweet. That an original piece. Is that
What's
an
up?
original
When
piece?
T-Y? Yeah, that was just a little
Pardon?
matchup of little things that make me feel nice. Different songs all put together.
Yeah, I like how it started like kind of like mellow and transient, and then you added some rhythm way at the
Yeah.
end. That was interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, it's interesting how like even me like the more I play, I've started writing my own like instrumental compositions. It's taken me a long time to get there. But is that something that you have? You've written quite a lot of instrumentals yourself?
Not really, actually. I haven't written a lot of instrumentals, but a lot of the times when I'm playing or when I'm writing, like I write it. I write the guitar parts as instrumentals, so you can just listen to the guitar alone, and it won't just sound like this, just playing chords. It's also still writing, even if I'm still backing. So in that sense, I'm always writing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just gonna do a quick bio. I'll let because I'm gonna save this and post this later. I'm just gonna do a quick introduction for you. I'm doing a bio based on my experience with you. So to anyone watching or to anyone who ends up seeing this later, so the first time I saw Tugi Mlamba was funny enough an invitation by Joseph Hellon to go and watch him at Villa Rosa Kempinski. That
Man.
time I had no idea who was who. And I came and it's over 10 years ago. And you were there with that signature strat of yours.
Yes.
And that time was probably what, like 19, 20?
Yeah.
And I had no idea who you were, but you were there, you were confident. I knew nothing about jazz music. I knew nothing about anything.
Yeah.
And then I saw you playing. And after that, I just, you were also my neighbor at some point, yeah?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's petrol.
Yes. Yes, with your dad, and we used to pass by once in a while. And yeah, from then on, I just kept seeing you with different people. Most notably, two artists that I really love, which is Maia Von Lekow. I remember you worked with Maia Von
Yes.
Lekow at one point.
Yeah, we did the project. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you played with one
Yeah,
on
yeah.
her
Her
project.
album that's out, Maya and the Big
Mine.
Sky.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
that I'm on, like, I think I'm about on at least 60% of that record.
Wow. I really
Yeah,
love that album.
it's amazing.
That's a really underrated
One of my
album.
favorite albums for sure.
Yeah, that's a really underrated album. And I'll never forget like watching you play with her. The time I came and watched you play with her, Jay.
Yes.
And that was nice. And then obviously later on, Tetu Shani,
Yeah.
someone else I really like, yes. And with Tetu, I feel like with Maya definitely like you shown, but now with Tetu, there's some records that you did with him that really, like he had a central role in engineering his sound. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I wish I could remember this one song. I told you about it a few years ago. But yeah, I don't know whether you can say anything about your work with Tetu Shani.
Wow, Tetu was he's an amazing human being. I met him through for Dili, actually. Actually, no, through Dempsey. He used to play percussion for Dempsey.
Yeah.
And when he started his journey as a singer-songwriter, we just bonded, and we decided to build his sound together. I think I went through a lot of the season where I did that for many different artists as well. Where we just we're starting from scratch and just building what the sound is what the sound is like, and just bringing ideas to life. And so with Tetu was really amazing because he was someone who grew up all over the world, very well traveled. He wasn't your typical like Nairobian type.
Senegal.
Yeah, he's been to all over the world. So it was really amazing to bring. For me, it was folk music. I hadn't yet played. I mean, one could say that Maya was folk music, but more on the Afro side, not so much like traditional, like Western folk. But Tetu really brought that there with his writing and, of course, with the style of music. And so it was really amazing to build. We did with our first project that we did. I mean, the first song we did was Round and Round and Ode to Pa. And that one, I remember we were in his parents' backyard. The first time we were just fleshing those songs out and finding signature sounds. And signature sounds was something I'd really gotten into as a guitarist coming up, but it wasn't really so much appreciated because of the market at this time. And so it was just a fresh breath of fresh air to find an artist that really looked for guitar signature sounds in his music, and they were just very organic, because I feel like it moves, when you get a beautiful signature sound, which all started when I listened to Mr. Nigel Hendrock from Hillsong. That's the guy who told me.
From Hillsong.
What's up, Mike?
Wow. And I'm just curious with those two artists, because I really am a big fan of those two artists. Where did you go? Where did you meet? Where did you meet with Tetu, for example?
Tetu, yeah, like I said, we met at his parents' house, and I had a rehearsal with Dempsey, and so it was me, Dempsey, and Tetu, and I was playing a show with Dempsey somewhere, like an acoustic show, and Dempsey to me is like one of the like legends for me in terms of African Kenyan songwriters, for sure. Like, he's, to me, the person who everybody wanted to sound like, to be like.
Yep.
And like,
so
we heavily borrowed from that, even, and him now working with Tetu was amazing. What's up, darling? I see Lamar is checked in. That's my special main squeeze, Anyway, so yeah, we met her. We met them. Sorry, wow. We met them. Dempsey, Tetu, together. And then for Maia, somebody suggested, she used to play with Alan Sucre. If you remember Alan Sucre, Alan Sucre was the bass player and music director for Elani, and also at that time he was working with Atemi and what's this guy's name? He used to play keyboard, and he has oh my gosh.
Is he not the one who played with Villages Band?
Yes, in the Villages, yes. Who's the main guy in Villages?
I'm trying to remember his name as well, the producer, the keyboardist.
Yes, that guy.
Who are you talking about?
Yeah. So him. So I met Maia through Alan, and actually Alan really pushed me in the artist side of things. I think when he met me, I was in the regular band music, or cover music. Let me say cover music. And so Alan really gave me a huge stepping stone into the artist scene, because he introduced me to Maia and Elani at the same time. And then also, I don't know, there's a lot, like in a dance and all of that whole group, So Alan was really pivotal in my guitar career, for sure. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Alan is quite a walking ball of energy himself. As far as being an all-rounded musician goes, those two people, Dempsey and Alan Sucre, very few like them in our industry. Yeah.
Those are special, very special.
Yeah. So one place I'd really like us to start, because like as a guitarist myself who has been to your father's workshop, and I'm dying with curiosity. What was it like growing up with a classical guitarist / guitar technician builder as a father, Mr. Mlamba, the legend himself?
Wow. It was I think one of the greatest things, and even till today, like, I realize how special it is, because I would come back from school, and he would find me at home, of course, back from school, and he'd come from the office, and like, you just pick his guitar and he would play. Before I knew he would make guitars, like, I knew him as a player. So he would play in the sitting room, even as we were kids, and I would just sit and just be mesmerized and wondering, how is he making that sound come out of this thing, And it was just like so crazy, so crazy. So I watched him play, and he would play only classical music. He never played anything else apart from classical music. And we grew up with classical music in the house, and then my mom would add, like, your soul, your Lionel Richie and Julio Iglesias and Aretha. That's when my mom would add that side. But my dad was classical, so I grew up. My guitar background is a classical guitar background, and I'm really, really. It still blows my mind that the odds that my dad is just as good a player as he is a luthier. They're called luthiers. People who make
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, like I find it just very interesting, you know, like I have no idea what it is to like grow up in a music household. And yeah, it's quite interesting. The very few musicians I meet who've grown up in that environment. And yeah, like, you know, one thing I really wanted us to start with also is that you have quite a footing and a grounding in how do I say, the church. And you know, ironically, I just started going back to church recently, and
Nice.
it's been quite, yeah, after a very, very, very long break. And I remember two experiences. One where I saw you with Alan Sucre on Facebook.
Yeah.
You were performing at the church that I grew up in, Nairobi Baptist. I saw a
Okay.
photo of you guys together, and I thought that was interesting because that's a church that so many, you know, celebs came out of. You know, you're talking about Tina Mungai, Lisa Oduo, Bill Selanga passed by there for some time.
Yeah.
George Nyoro.
Yeah.
You know, so many people came from this church, and I saw that photo of you guys, you know, in my childhood church, and I thought that was interesting, you know, and because especially since Alan Sucre left the pop scene, sorry.
Yeah.
And then the second time is the time I just bumped into you and you said, you know, you're taking a break from music. It was quite a few years ago. I don't know whether you remember, to just by the street, and you said, you know, you were getting into some Bible study, and that's pretty much where I am nowadays. You know, I trying to receive the word, and you know, just like trying to plant my feet in fertile soil, which is a difficult thing to do in any music industry, especially ours, where the idea of being, you know, someone from the church, a Christian, like myself, which I'm not afraid to say, is not trendy, you know, but it is truly fertile soil because the church has made more musicians than, you know,
And anywhere else.
anywhere else, you know, anywhere else. So is there anything you'd like to say about that?
I mean, I grew up definitely in the church, even because I started playing guitar, I said, here at home classically, and my career, I could say, really began through church. I used to play in church with ICC, but I wasn't really that committed up until when I turned pro, and I turned pro after leaving ICC and joining another church, where now I started playing in the main service, and I met very good people. One was a music director, and the other one was a guitarist. And the music director was Javier Hakala, and the guitarist was Edward Gutu. And he's a very amazing guitarist, and he's a guy who, you know, he encouraged me. You know, he had an acoustic guitar. He would play lead guitar, and he had an acoustic guitar. He'd just leave in the car on Sunday. So he was like, "Oh, if you can play chords, you can come and play for me. Play chords for me, and I play the electric on top. It will be great." And I was like, "Yeah, that bet." And then eventually we got an amp for the acoustic, and then eventually we got Javier, the music director, who was a very huge mentor for me at that time. Through the church scene and playing worship music, you know, he had an electric guitar and an amp, and so that's how I started playing electric, just by now learning the songs through YouTube and through the rehearsals that we would play. And then finally I got my break at South Africa, where I did an audition. I think I was like 17 years old. I did an audition. And
Before, don't mind pausing for a second. What are the names of those two churches again? ICC stands for?
ICC is International Christian Center. That's on Mombasa Road.
The second
one? The second one was now where I started like serious worship music was in Green Pastures Tabernacle, which now is in Motoine, but they used to be in just next to Prestige Plaza, opposite Good Shepherd. Yeah, so then now they moved. Right now they're based out in Mutoini. But anyway, and I think that was a Pastor Mwalili, also an amazing pastor who led me through that time. And then, so when I joined South Africa, now I was the first paying job that I would go to the office every day to play music and make a set that we were now going to go and tour. After we had 2 months of practice here, then 2 months, a month of practice in Korea and a month of touring in Korea. And by the time that month of practice that we had in Korea, now is when we were trained by really the top musicians in Korea, people who were the MD for Idol's Korea, like people who have mastered Berkeley, yeah, and we each had individual teachers, and then we had a band tutor, and so that time is really where like I really next leveled my playing, because like we were just exposed to the highest level, and it was so. I mean, that was priceless. I don't even know how you can get that kind of experience even now. If you had to pay for it, I don't even know if you really can. So many moving parts had to happen. These people had to be available, and then the tours had to happen. And we ended up touring like 70 churches in a month and raising like 7 million Kenya shillings for this NGO.
Did you say 7-0?
Yes, it's
7-0.
Dude, like we on a tour, like if you're after the practice time. So when we start touring, like we play, we eat, and we move, and we play, we eat, and we move. Like it was a tour, proper tour, and we're being hosted by different families, different churches. It was just amazing, and we toured the whole of South Korea, like from the top to the bottom, and it was just an amazing experience. So then when I came back, I hadn't yet actually turned 18 in Korea. And when I came back, I hadn't done my O-levels. And I didn't want, because now I was already making like a salary from music. I told my folks, I don't need to do anything. I'm already doing what I want. I'm being paid. I was getting paid like 20K back then. And I was like so much. I'm even telling the guys, thanks so much for giving me 20,000. I really can do things for my family. I realized that was the worst thing to do, because immediately after I told them that, they sacked me because one, I needed to do my O-levels, and I don't really need the money, right? And they're trying to like that's just business. So that was my first hard lesson. Never say that you're okay with what you're being given. Other people in the band were like, you guys, I can't. This is not enough. I need more. I can't. I'm dying. And I was here saying that, I'm so happy that I have more than I need. Thank you so much. And I'm like, what? Anyway, so that left, and now that left me at a point where now I don't have a job. I did my O-levels. And now I came back, and they're like, we can't support you because, it's tough right now and whatnot. And I was just like, well, okay, now I need to start gigging. And so.
This is at the age of 18.
Yeah, this is like 2013 now. This is 2012, actually 2012. And 2012 now I finished 2012, I finished my O-levels, and I met Ricky Nanjero. And I never played jazz before, and he had just come off, I think, a tour with Jack. He was working with Jack at the time, and Jack didn't even have dreads; he was bald. I don't know if you ever remember Jack bald.
This is absolutely crazy. Just to pause there. Ricky Marafiki is like the king of Afro jazz. Besides Juma Tutu, to me, he's like the king of Afro jazz in this country, and he's been holding that strong. This is getting better and better. Please go on.
Yeah, bro. So. I worked with Ricky, and there I met many different, all those players. Every time you work with a band, like you meet them, you meet all that whole circle. So with Ricky now, I met people like Abu. I don't know if you remember Abu, is Abu Drama, and there was also Mwema Nzoma, who plays keys and plays left hand keys, and that's where we built my relationship with now. Started to build the industry relationship. So I worked with Ricky for a couple of shows. And then I met Joseph Hellon.
Oh yes, the man elected.
Yeah, I met him.
That was
with him for a long time. I gig with Joseph for probably about 5 years. Either 5 years, 4 years. And then after I met Joseph, and that was over, then I met Mwai. And now Mwai was for me like the height of my cover band career, because this was the person that everyone wanted to work with. He paid on time. He looked for the best gigs for everyone. He treated his band really well, and I learned so much from Wine during that time. So like that was my cover band story. And now all through as I'm Moi is tapering off, and I decided to dive into my own music. I did a show, I created some music, I did my own little show, 2016 or 2018, one of the two. Actually 2018. Yeah, 2018 I did my own show, and then I started playing for different. I started playing for different artists, but now after Moi, I just fully went into playing for artists and stopped doing regular shows. I think like after doing regular shows for almost like 10 years, I just got bored about playing the same song every the lists were the same, and
And
we
I
did
think I met you around that time. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think that's around the time I met you, and I think all I remember is the time I met you, and you had disappeared from the scene,
Yeah.
and I remember like your presence had really hit a lot of musicians, a lot of people were asking where is Tugi, and then I bumped into you on the street, and you looked like you had been jengang some tumors or something, and
Yeah,
I was like,
you're
oh.
not leave your phone your Jenga you there. You have to show the difference of what you've been doing.
Amen,
Yeah,
amen,
man.
amen.
At
And
least
I asked you like, where have you disappeared to? And I remember you saying like, yeah, I've been reading the Bible,
yeah.
and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Is there
actually
anything?
true. What
Yeah.
happened was I did a show where I was playing for, I think you remember P Square. Remember the guys who
Yes.
did those? So I
Yes.
played for one half of P Square. It was brought by an agency, Taurus Music.
Uh-huh.
I brought him here, and they brought the band together very late, and we were just like we were just really good. I think that band we played for him, it was me, Christian Kibamba, Ivan Pizera, and Johnson Omonije. Who had just come off doing Coke
Wow.
Studio. And so the band was really
Uh-huh.
tight. We could get the music very quickly. We had like a crash course. We were doing practices from like 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. And it was just a really taxing thing. But I was just like, it's part of the life. And we were treated like really, really badly by the management. Not by Mr. P himself, but by Taurus. And like it was really, really bad. And I never thought that it was really bad. But when I shared the story with some of my folks' friends, actually, they were like, wow, you guys can be at this high level and you're being treated like this. And what do I mean by being treated like this was that we were, first of all, we were paid so cheaply. We were paid like under $100 each, and we had to hold them ransom for the money because they were not going to give us. So we had to say we're not going on stage. And then when eventually they caved in, they threw the money on the floor, and we had to pick the money up. And when I recounted this story out there, I was just told, Tugi, it can't be that you're at this peak, like you're playing for one of the top acts in the continent, right? And you're picking money that's kidogo off the floor. And I was just like, you know what? Okay, fine. I've done this for
When you say
now
picking
almost
off the floor, are you saying picking off the floor metaphorically?
no, literally. Like he threw the money
Okay.
on the floor.
Okay.
Yeah. I just
Yeah.
like, no, it's money, bro. Like, and I need it. So I
Yeah,
picked it
yeah,
up
no.
and I went and I played. We all did.
That's
And
crazy.
so after that,
That's straight out of the
I
movie.
shared it as a funny story to some group friends, and they were just like, "Yo, bro, this can't be it. This can't be it." And I said, "You know what? I've done it for 10 years. Let me give it a break. Let me do something else. Let me, come back." And that's when I came back to church. I even did a whole year about Bible study, which was amazing. I would implore anyone to just delve into serious study for whatever you believe. It doesn't have to be one thing or another, but understand why you believe what you believe, so that you can have a better footing. You can see a bit better. You can move through life a bit better. You can have an anchor. You can spend some time in the spiritual, because whether you like it or not, that's what's the real thing. This is just a reflection of what is above, but that is
Inside.
another story for another day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
but one thing we can agree on when it comes to being a musician in the industry, the high moments are just as dangerous as the low moments,
Yeah.
because you can get lost in the high moments as well. You can think you're on top of the sky, or you can find yourself lost with the wrong people. With
100%.
not necessarily the healthiest lifestyle. So one thing I've learned personally is that the high moments and the low moments are just as
Oh
dangerous,
yeah.
to us mentally.
I'd say even the
Yeah.
high ones are more dangerous than the low ones, because your guard is down because you're so happy. Personally, for me, like when you have too much, when you're so happy, when you're super like elated or super like, yeah, your guard is down. You're not alert. You get a bit light. You get a bit slacky. you let things go. You're like, oh, what? I did what? Yeah, oh, mad, okay. I
I've been
said,
there, man. I've been there. I've
so
been
that
there.
happens.
Yeah.
That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all part of the journey.
Yeah.
We're constantly growing and evolving, and you have to be able to flow through those. That's the
Yes.
key. Can you flow through them? Can you flow through
Yes.
these different seasons?
Yes.
Because they come and they go, and it's
Yes.
just about what you make out of them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You know, one thing that is always true, and John Mayer said this in his documentary. He said that, at the doesn't matter how good the show is, there's always gonna be that moment at the end of the show where you vibe with everyone, and the show is over, and the lights are gone, and you're back with yourself.
Yeah.
And like if you do not have true identity, holistic living to who you are, knowing who are your real friends, and just because you go to meet people at rehearsals or you play with them on stage does not necessarily mean that your buddies. So having this just holistic idea of who you are spiritually, those things matter, because you can find yourself in a dark place where you're alone, and people who you think were your brothers, life changes, and I don't know if they can relate to it.
100%, definitely. That is a constant. It's a constant in life, and sometimes the worst part is when you're not able to accept that these things have changed, and you're still holding on to things that you should not be holding on to anymore. And that's a very difficult lesson sometimes for us. You might think you've done it, but like, trust me, life will teach you how many things you're still holding on to that are really not doing anything for you. Yeah.
Amen, amen, and amen. And before I get into this, for anyone watching, this is a space I'm creating as a guitarist and songwriter myself. I had the vision, the idea, if you will, to create a space where I've been around the block myself. Maybe definitely not as much as you. I've never been to Korea, but I've met quite a lot of songwriters who play the guitar, and a lot of them play the guitar really well. And I noticed one thing is that people might have a lot of inspiration melodically, but when it comes to moving around the guitar specifically, people tend to fall back to the same ideas. And when I realized this in a lot of people's songwriting, I felt inspired to talk about ways that people can kind of, have more ideas. And before we go into that segment, I just have a personal question of advice, because you seem like you had a lot of success attracting opportunities to you. And I'm wondering whether you could give any piece of advice before I go into the songwriting segment of this kind of workshop, webinar, if you will. What do you think has worked for you in, like, how do I say, attracting those opportunities, because some of us, I say myself, is that it's taken quite a lot of time, to get from one opportunity to the next. One thing that is both positive and negative is that I've been put into a box, like, I don't know if you remember, there's a time you came, and it's a very, very memorable experience. I used to play at a blues club in town. I don't know if you remember. Barclays Plaza, bottom floor.
Okay.
And you came up with that signature strat and your leather strap, no effects. You plugged into the mic, and I didn't know, I didn't know whether you'd get the blues, but you got the blues, and you killed it with your own style as usual. And I don't know whether you have anything you can say as a piece of advice to, like, musicians who are still trying to find their footing, like myself or others. How do you attract those personalities? Because you blossomed before the age of social media. So I'm sure you had to rely on something else to attract those opportunities.
Yeah, and in fact, I've always been like, in a way, and now I'm changing, of course, but I do consider myself like a purist. I've never wanted to, like, use social media to push something. Like, if it's either you know or you don't know. It's either I was there or I was not there. Like, it's either I had the conversation or I didn't. But, like, one of the major things was being able to know, like, no matter, because you see, the thing is, we all have the same guitar, we all have the same notes, right? So what is it that makes somebody say that, oh no, I want you? So it was very clear. My mom said, actually, when I told her that I didn't want to do conventional study and all of that, she was like, that you know what that means, that you just have to be the best. There has to be,
Wow.
there's no other way. Like
I love that.
that's it.
I'm
So
listening.
when you're the best,
Yeah.
that's one way you will always be called. And how do you become the best? It's not that you can't be technically the best. Like you can be, and I don't call myself as my best, but I call myself one of the best. Like I'm one of the best. I'm world
I
standard.
think
So,
I think in every session guitarist book, your name will definitely come up. So yes, that
yeah,
has been achieved.
and that's just because like I would always dream about these. I would dream about vision. I'd see, what do I want to look, what does it look like, what when I am on stage, or when I am in studio, and I have this artist that I'm serving. I'm here for an artist. That's different from when I'm the artist. you know and a big thing sometimes is being able to know that you are in the service industry. You are not the guy. You're only the guy when the switch is flipped, and when on command. It is on command. As long as you're not the artist, it is on command. And as long as you follow that chain of command, and you make sure that you are holding this artist in whatever way, form that they might even not know they need to be held, but you know what they need now, because you've done this for a while, and like how to, whether it's a session and you can tell maybe there's a block or something. Maybe the thing is to say, oh yeah, let's take a break right now and let's just talk, or let's just, and in those moments they're like, wow, the experience that I had with Tugi outside of his music, it has to be also outside of the music. So what
Communication
Tugi is
skills.
outside of the music, I want to be around that. I feel that my music or my art is added because of the things that are non-musical, that this person, when this person is here, then it feels like I can be a better me. And now that's what makes you get the call every time. And then now the follow through, like, are you on time? Are you able to perform? All of these other now things. But at the end of the day, it's like when somebody thinks about you, are they like, yeah, or are they like, wow, I don't know. And that has a lot more to do with the non-musical side. I mean, already when you're working in a world standard industry, that means the music is already going to be good. So now the other things are the unmusical factors. Does he dress well? Does he smell good? Does he talk well? All of these things, these things are the ones that, they give you that extra boost. They're like, nah, okay, no, I just have to go with Tugi because, he's the thing, you don't even know a word for it, but it's the thing, because it's all those, it's your whole life, your delivery, and the ability to share that delivery and also accept input. And you might find times that there's artists that actually want to test you and actually make things difficult for you. Are you going to play into that and like eat from their bowl? Or are you going to show them, there's another cup over here where it's easy and it's simple and everybody loves each other and we make dope shit, and it's now up to you to decide. So it's easy, and you can guide them. You can show them that bowl without being a dickhead. But also there's times that sometimes you have to be a dickhead to help somebody realize they're being a dickhead.
Yeah.
So it's now also that also know that it's a wonderful dance. It's a wonderful dance you have to have, and it starts with yourself. It starts with yourself, and yeah, it's beautiful to see people grow, and even to work with artists and see them grow over the years. How are they also, do they even think about you and all the work you have to do? And how do they make it easier? Now there's artists that I like to work with because, we get each other, man. Like, we get each other, we move. That for me, I moved with the season with Tetu. That was my entire season with Tetu was like that, where we just got each other. Maybe it was because we were gigging musicians first. And then we had already an understanding. And so there's just connection. Music is music, and especially with bands or with anyone other than yourself, it's about how strong is the connection. I remember that the Avatar thing where they connect with the animals, right? And so it's kind of like that, you have to create that sync to be memorable. And even on stage, even with audiences, can you sync with an audience, and how quickly do you do it? and how well do you carry them through? How well is the latch on and the latch off? So those are two different. Yeah.
You know, so everything you're saying, I've witnessed. I've witnessed. Like as you talk, I'm just remembering different performances. Like talking just now, I just remembered like there's a time you played with Tetu Shani at Gecko, and it was packed, and like you did this call and response thing with your guitar. I can't remember. It was off a reggae roots track. I can't remember, but it was dope. It was dope. But yeah, personally as a musician, I can have this kind of conversation all day, but I wanna now like kind of change the topic and focus on the songwriting bit.
Yeah.
So for people watching, I performed with Tugi. I played for a band called the Douglas Nomads Blues Band, and we backed you up. Was it 2023 or 2022? I've been trying to 23.
Oh yeah, 23. 24 was last year.
Yes.
Yeah,
was it 23 or 22?
It was 23.
Yes.
Yes.
At beneath the Baobabs in Kilifi.
Yes.
And it was the first time I truly got to focus on you as an artist, as a songwriter, and it was overwhelming, to say, for lack of a better word. And since we never got to have a proper conversation before this, I'm gonna name. So I got to listen to your unmentionables.
Yes.
the catalog, your unreleased catalog, let me call it that.
Yeah.
And I had all kinds of things, and I definitely had your background as a gospel artist. It's funny, I've been listening to Kelele Collective this afternoon and your unreleased catalog, and it was interesting to see just the breadth of your catalog and yet the consistency. But one thing I've realized about you is that you remind me so much of Tom Misk. I don't know whether you listen to Tom Misk.
Yeah.
And you have this, I just hear this consistent desire to make people feel good.
Yeah.
It's like that's all you think you want to do.
Excellent.
Yeah. That's what I get. Yeah. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, there's very many different types of musicians and different people who like different things, are akin, or I would say akin to, or are more biased to a certain thing. And for me, it is sweetness, happiness, joy, and like smiling, laughing. That's what I want you to feel. There is crying at some point. There is deepness. There is, there's that movement. But like, I'm a sucker for sweetness. I love sweetness. I love the way sweetness feels. You won't find me. I don't think I even have any melancholy songs. I might have songs that have like deep meaning, but like they don't sound to the ear like pain. There's people that it's a whole genres of just pain music, and I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just not my cup of tea. Like I'm such a sucker for sweetness. I love sweetness so much. It just does the thing for me, and I just decided, why fight?
How do you tap into that? For me, I've learned about gratitude. So for me, my thing, the way I tap into that is gratitude and just taking care of myself. How do you tap into that space? Because as musicians, we're still human beings. We still go through life. How do you tap into that space of, I'm in a creative mood and I just want to, share something and make someone feel good? How do you tap into that, space?
I think it's because like I know what will make me feel good. I play to myself first. I satisfy myself first. And as long as I'm satisfied, I have like, I'm sure one or two other people are gonna feel just kind of around what I feel. So my key is that if I don't like it, if I don't feel like it's good, then there's no way I can expect anyone else to like it. That's just like on the basic. So how do I know what I like? I just spend time. I spend time developing my own vocabulary. I spend time with myself. And what do I mean by vocabulary? Not just on playing, but also in my processes. I understand, what do I like? I like vanilla. I don't like chocolate. I like jeans. I don't like spandex. I don't know. Like there's different. You just need to know like, what do I like? And it's it sounds easy, but it's actually very difficult and very hard to say, no, me, I like this. Me, I do this. Me, I don't like that. I don't like this, right? So once you do that, once you have that for yourself, everything just gets cut. Oh no, this will make it go this way. So yeah, I don't want that. So why do I do something I don't want? I'm gonna look like I'm doing like something I don't want, right? And if as long as I look like I'm doing like I'm something I don't want, there's no way I can convince anybody else that I love what I'm doing, because I don't.
Amen.
Any human can understand without any language if they see somebody doing what they love and what they don't love. That one you don't even need to tell me. I can just see and I know. And so those are the languages that I love, the ones that you don't need to explain. Like I just look at you and I know. I see and I know. Yeah.
But that's kind of the privilege of being a songwriter or your own artist. When you're a session hand, you kind of have to sacrifice a bit. Sometimes you're gonna be in spaces where you're playing music that you wouldn't necessarily listen to all day.
Yeah, that's true. But then that plays into the work of it, right? Because now the work of a session musician is on command, correct? So when it is on command, you are saying that you are big enough to take all of your greatness and give only what you're asked for. And that is sometimes harder than you know. But what happens in that, because of you're doing all that processing, like, man, I wish I could, but I have to do it this way. Then you look for how you can make it your own, but still what you've been asked. That way you don't lose. You don't lose, but you also give, and you're gonna give something that's different to the person that's just asked it from you.
It's so funny that you bring that up, because the one thing I've always loved about you specifically as a guitarist is that, you know, if you look at the other established session guitarists in Nairobi, a lot of them have spent, you know, hard-earned hours learning rumba classics, learning the language of rumba, the language of jazz, and for some reason you don't seem to have that sound of, oh, this is what a rumba basic thing sounds like.
Yeah.
It's like you will have your own rumba touch. And the only person I can think of who, the former guitarist for Rico Niner, Isaac Ngunda. Yeah, both you and him, you know, you don't seem to have that. This is the traditional style. No, you know, like I remember meeting Isaac Ngunda, and he loved Red Hot Chili Peppers. He loved, you know, like rock and roll and all of these things. And you know, one of my favorite albums of all time is Love Plus Protest.
Ah, yes.
And if you listen to that album, it's the first time I heard, you know, rumba and rock and roll properly, you know, meshed in a way. And when I listen to some of the Tetu Shani tracks that you've done, specifically with Tetu Shani, you know, you can't be put down. And I feel like, you know, my question going backwards now to the whole session hand thing is, did you have to spend conscious time learning the basics of genres, or has it always been a fluid thing of you just learning different songs and then learning how to copy and paste what you've learned from those things, gain your own sound and put it on? Because a lot of guitarists get lost in, especially me, you know, the perfectionist in me. I feel like there's no point of me playing rumba if I haven't learned the basics and all the kinds of progressions and all of these things. And I can get lost in that. And I feel like there's something about you that just didn't get lost in that. You have this level of self-trust, you know, and you're not trying to compete with the, you know, Kabasekes of this world, the you know, the Mugunas, the legends that make me cry.
It's very interesting, you know, for me, like rumba is such a wonderful topic for me, because it's my most loved. Like, I love rumba music. I love African music. My most favorite music to listen to is African music. Anything Afro, around Afro. So for me, guitar, and especially with your Congolese, all the Congolese genres, rumba, soukous, steben, all of those ones. And you have the great players, you guys. And I remember even asking Mugunda himself, what is it? Because you know, some of these things you have to, you don't learn. You can't learn one because they're not in books. And maybe somebody's written some books about, you know, about rumba music or something. But back in the day, and what Mugunda told me was, you just have to listen. Just listen and listen and listen. When you go to sleep with the headphones on. And when I didn't do that, but I'm just like, whatever I listen to, I know how it made me feel. My main thing is feeling, right? I know if something has gotten me to a feeling, and I know if it's not there. And that's one thing I know. Like, if it doesn't feel right, then there's something that's missing. So I tried to find it, and I found a lot of the times with my rumba playings that I was overcomplicating it a lot. I was hearing extra things when it's so simple. Benga is the one now who really simplified it for me, and I was just watching. I'm like, wow, okay, it's actually not that difficult. The main thing is to get the bounce. People would say, if you get the bounce of it, if you get it's phrasing, it's talking. It's the thing is not like chords like we would think about them in Western music. No, the guitar is also singing, and so he's talking the same way a Congolese would talk, so that's the reason why you don't get it, is because you're not Congolese. And if you talk to Isaac Mugunda, he can speak fluent Lingala. If you he's fluent in Lingala.
I can't think of
and so
I can't think of any guitarist, I can't think of any guitarist in this industry who has mastered that genre, besides maybe Sham and other maybe many people whose maybe names are not in the forefront. But yes, sorry,
no problem. It's true. But with this and every other type of music, if you can get down to the way it feels, you don't really need to know the notes, because now you can know if you're doing something that makes you feel like that, right? And then you can develop your own voice through that. But for me, rumba, even till today, that's still the genre that I have the most work to do in still. and I love that I still have so much to learn there, because I grew up on I grew up on Hillsong and Delirious and like white boy music, dude, white boy music.
Well, Sawa, that now brings me to kind of like my main question, because for me, I'm just gonna go straight to the point. When it comes to songwriting, the two things actually that have truly helped me as a songwriter be able to arrange songs in ways that are not predictable is, one, what you'd call the numbering system. So like, let me get this guitar out. So like, let's say I'm composing in C major, knowing all the chords that lie in there. Like, I'll spend so much of my time practicing. So I know, like, the fifth of a C is a G7. The sixth of a G is a relative minor. I know the seventh is a half diminished. And that has given me an idea of, like, I use that as kind of like my rule book. Like, if I start jamming a song in a key, I know all the chords that can go there, and then I have an idea of the alternative chords. You talk about minor ninths.
Yeah.
Is that something that you rely on yourself?
Yeah, 100%. Like, before I knew about the number system, I used to be so lost, because I didn't, like, even if I was classically trained, I was still like more an ear player. And so the number system helped me to develop my ear side. So now I knew what a 1 sounds like, what a 2 sounds like, what a 3 sounds like, before we get into now the 6 and the 5ths and the diminished and the 13ths and all of that. But at least as long as you know, and I think like anyone, as long as you get to understanding that number system, you can play anything, and you can be able to jam with anyone, and that's regardless of of language. When you meet Koreans or people from the Middle East, you can tell them 1, 4, 5, and everyone will know what that means. The same thing that music theory does, but this is a bit easier, a bit better. So it's very imperative to, I'd say, for any session player, you need to know the number system. There's no other, you can't get around that.
Amen. And for me also is, I find one secret to both learning songs and writing songs is starting from the bass line. Because once you know the bass line, and then you know the numbering system, you know what chords fall where, and I don't know whether that's something else that you use.
Yeah, for sure. In fact, the numbering system means what the bass is playing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, are there any other tools that have helped you, like in just composing? Is there something that
I'd
makes
say
it
for
like
me,
easier
a
and
big thing
beautiful?
was getting the people who I like, right? I'd listen not to their music, but to their interviews, and to the people who they listen to, and why it is, and what is their mindset. Because if I understand where they're coming from, then I get the mindset. Because I don't want to play, I don't want to repeat them, right? But I want to understand where they're coming from, so that I can give that vibe. Is it okay? If I want to be the most like hard and like raw, then how does somebody explain to me that I like that? Then I know, okay, it involves effects, it involves gear, it involves these chords, or it involves these techniques, and all these things come together to give you this feeling. So the more that I understand the feeling, the more that I can now develop attach that to my playing, so that now I develop my own vocabulary of feeling, right? So that I'm not playing the same notes per se, but I understand where it's coming from. So now I just give me. Yeah, I just give me.
It's interesting because it seems like what you're also saying is that having just the regular practice of learning other people's music, it gives you this kind of subconscious, intuitive idea of
Yeah,
where
your
you want to go
library,
when it comes
your
to feeling.
library.
Yes.
Yeah, you just pull out which book do you want to pull out from. So you're gonna pull out from Zach Wild, and I'm gonna just take this little approach and then add here. Probably I'm gonna add the Zach Wild with the Satriani to get this feel. Because I like Joe's legato, but I want to be like raw like Zach. So now I'm gonna do this, and so now you can build your own vocabulary of people. Yeah. Or people or
Yeah,
vibes, vibe vocab. Trying to look for
yeah, because one thing that when it comes to a balance, I think the hardest thing that's been for me as a songwriter myself is striking the balance between writing your own music and learning other people's music, and it's easy to get into the box. Sorry, I disappeared for a
I
second
think
there. Yeah,
someone
but
said the audio is noisy.
okay, oh man,
Is it good now?
yeah. Apparently, there's some echo, but it's okay. I think we can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you, but I hear
Yeah,
myself from you.
but one thing I've seen happen a lot to people is that you can end up being too much on the side of being a cover artist or becoming a songwriter who is not able to have a diverse catalog, who doesn't have that big of a library. So their sound and their songwriting can be a bit predictable. So striking that balance can be also a challenge on its own. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, and you go through seasons where you do one or the other more, or maybe both more. So it's just about knowing that you're building two different dogs. You're feeding two different dogs. You know that analogy of how you have dogs in your brain. Whichever one you feed more, you will do that more. It's just the way. Well, the whatever more time you spend, you're gonna be more in tune there. You're gonna be more in tune here. But the beautiful thing is when you can borrow from both, and then you create that mix and match. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't thank you enough. I do hope to have this conversation with you in person in the future. But just to wrap it up, first of all, if anyone who's watching this doesn't know, Tugi is part of a group, an amazing group. I think you guys have been together, what, like 3-4 years, Kelele Collective?
About 5 years now.
Yeah, and yeah, amazing music, like a mix of the new and a mix of the old. And with the unmentionables, your unreleased catalog, what can we hope to see from you? What are you hoping to share with the world now when it comes to your own music?
Wow. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff I've been working on. Different ideas, different experiments with all of my different friends, as I've developed so many different musical connections. And so yeah, for this year, it's like all about that journey of self-discovery, and of let's say acceptance. The hardest thing for me is to remove what do you call this, that perfectionism and letting go, being able to let go. So 2025 is purpose to let go, and so you guys are gonna get you're gonna get at least a soft serving of Tugi, at least a soft serve.
Yeah, like I'll never forget the day you shared with me that song we did with Hear It by Different.
Yes.
There's something that's very local, and it represents you in all the ways. Simple, muted guitar technique. And then it's just nice and it's relaxing and it's fun, and I just love that song, and I hope you do something with that. I'm not gonna stop sumboing you about that, man. I hope you make a video or something.
Thank you for the love, Barry.
Yes. So is there a place that is your music on all platforms? Can we find you on
Spotify? My artist name is Tugi. It's verified on Spotify. And then on Instagram, Tugi Mlamba. On YouTube, Tugi Live. Follow for more.
Nice.
Yeah, and of course, here,
Nice.
we're also going to be doing stuff for acoustic. Yeah.
Nice.
So check
Nice.
space.
Nice. And you've also been a host with Nairobi Guitar Festival in the past, yeah?
Yeah, with myself and Yamaha, the boys at Yamaha. It's been great. The guitar scene is popping. And I'm honored to be part of it. Any part that I play, I'm really honored, yeah.
Well, man, it's been such an honor and a pleasure having you for my first episode. I know it's not been the smoothest ride for both of us.
We made it. Come on.
We made it. We made it.
Yeah.
Yes, and I really like it. Yeah, it's a pleasure, and I really appreciate you sharing. Also the spiritual background behind all of it. I really respect that as well. Yes, so hopefully we'll see more from you. Maybe, who knows, if I'm lucky, I'll get to jam with you sometime again. And and I hope you get to share more with the world, because I know you have a lot to share.
100%, my brother.
So thanks for making the time to have this discussion with me, and hopefully we'll bump into each other soon.
Bless, my brother. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Take care, man.
Thanks everyone for coming through.
Thanks everyone looking through. I'm gonna post this very soon on my post, and I'll invite you to collaborate.
Yes, please. Careful.
Bless. Okay, cheers, man.